I am at a place called Mulch and More here in Springdale, Arkansas, and this is where I get all of my mulch for my flower beds, and this is where I get the masonry sand for this project. So there are a lot of debates over this. Should you use masonry sand, topsoil, compost, organic matter, a combination thereof, whatever? I'm going to tell you why I use masonry sand only. I am not looking for any nutritional value in this project. I am merely looking to smooth out the lawn and get it nice and level. And sand has the best leveling properties of them all. The topsoil, the compost, the organic matter over time will start to deteriorate and wash out. This sand will hold stronger over time. And today I am only doing my front lawn. Last year I used 4 scoops, so that came out to be about 2 yards worth. Now my front lawn is only about 1,500 square feet. Per 1,000 square feet, 1 yard of sand is recommended. So you can see I went way more than that last year. So I'm hoping this year that I made enough of a dent in it last year that I won't need that much. So I plan on using 3 scoops, so about 1.5 yards for the 1,500 square feet. And a lot of people will tell you, don't go any more than 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch deep on this. Guess what? Last year I went 2+ inches deep and everything worked out fine. Now, if you want to play a little bit more conservative, that's up to you. But I don't mind throwing the sand down heavy because I know that Bermuda can handle it. And that's another reason why sand is used for the Bermuda, because it likes to grow through the sand. Think about golf courses, especially in my area down here in Arkansas in the south. They use sand for all the top dressing. Even in your golf cart, there's a little thing of sand to fill in your divot after you take a shot out of the fairway. So masonry sand is just the way to go, in my opinion, for this project when it comes to a Bermuda lawn. It's go time, my friends. I've got my first of 3 scoops. I'm only going to do 1 scoop at a time, and it's pretty self-explanatory from here. Get this sand out of this truck onto that lawn. So I'm going to do all 3 scoops, and then I'll come back and show you what it looks like once I get all the sand onto the lawn. Now, there are a lot of ways you can do this. I'm going to use these 2 pickle buckets and this shovel and dump it on the lawn 2 by 2. You can take it straight from the shovel to the lawn. You can use a wheelbarrow, whatever you want to do, just get it out of the truck onto the lawn. Just try to get it as evenly distributed as possible, and then you can come back later in the process and add more where you need it. All right, let's get it going. Say what you want about not getting the sand delivered to my house and having to make multiple trips to get each scoop, but I really enjoyed the truck rides in the AC with some cold water to catch my breath. So the 3 scoops are on the lawn, and I couldn't help myself. I've already got a 4th scoop because I could just tell that I was going to need that buffer one. And we'll go over that just a little bit more after a while. Now, I thought I was going to regret using the shovel and the 2 pickle buckets, but truthfully, I found that to be quite convenient. It allowed me to get smaller piles than the wheelbarrow like last year. And I could have a little more precision on where I wanted to place it, because I know where my bad spots are, so I've already gotten a little extra sand in those areas. But for the most part, I've got the piles evenly distributed across the lawn. And so now we are to the point where it's time to start busting these suckers over. And then we'll start dragging our drag mat and using our DIY lawn loop. I know a lot of you folks are interested to see how that thing works. So, no time to waste. Let me show you how I'm going to bust these over. And when I get them all knocked over, I'll show you where I'm at before I start dragging and using the lute, and we'll keep moving. All right, no secrets here. Take this rake and knock those piles over, just like this. Woo! We are making some progress, but this is tough. So we're done with the rake. I'll show you what that looks like. I'm glad I got that 4 scoop. I knew I would need it. I have already dipped into it. As you start busting the piles with the rake where you thought you had enough, it starts becoming pretty apparent that you're going to need more. So it never hurts to have a little extra. So we've got everything spread out from the rake. Now it is time to start dragging the drag mat and using the lawn leveling rake or the lawn lute. So I specifically made this lute 24 inches wide. You can get them online for 36 and 48 inches, but I wanted this one for the perimeter, to go around the perimeter, and for the strips along the street. So I didn't want anything big. Sometimes I think, you know, bigger is not better, which actually just turned out to be the case with the rake that I used to bust over the piles, because last year I used a 36-inch landscape rake, and it was just too big on my lawn and too cumbersome to move around. So I'm glad I had that old-fashioned rake to use this year. And then once I use the lute around the perimeter and the strips along the street, that's when I'll use the drag mat with the block on it for the main parts of the lawn, and that will help speed this process up significantly. But so far things are going very, very smooth and according to plan. And I should mention one other advantage to using this masonry sand. This is nice screened stuff. So one thing that will likely not be present in this: weed seeds. Huge plus when you're doing this leveling project, because the last thing you want is to have your lawn in good shape, get it nice and level, and then be fighting with weeds again. So what I'm going to do is, I know a lot of you folks want to see that lute in action, as do I, so I'm going to use it first, show you a little action of it, then I'm going to get my spread on, show you a little bit of that with the drag mat, then I'll finish doing everything and I'll come back and see you again when I've got it all finished up. I'm gonna go at that just a little bit more. Worked like a charm, just as intended, but I will say, it's all steel, it's all metal, it's heavy. But I think that's helping it get that sand work down into the turf even better. It's gonna be a workout, but if you wanna build one of these things, I think that right there is enough proof to show it works just like you're gonna want it to. Whew. But it is tough. But hey, you want it to be beefy and sturdy, and that DIY lute is. That made that section right there so much easier than using the drag mat on it last year. Already worth it. I'm gonna get this finished up. I'll see you back at the mat. The hay is in the barn on day one of sand, my friends. I've had all I can take, and we aren't striving for perfection here. If you do that, you're going to be disappointed. We can only do so much. So I'm done with the drag mat, I'm done with the lawn lute, and I'm going to show you the difference those two tools make after seeing all that sand all over the lawn. Here are the results of the drag mat. Huge, huge difference. And the results of the DIY lawn lute that I made. There Also there along the street. And then drag mat there. So what those two tools do, the back and forth motion of the rake and the dragging of the mat, just helps distribute the sand into the low spots. So wherever you see a lot of sand, those were the low spots. The green grassy spots, still the higher spots. So you can tell how efficient those two devices work to help you easily put the sand where it belongs. Now again, if you do not have these two pieces of equipment, you can use just a shop broom, like I mentioned towards the beginning of the video. Just a garage push broom. You know, those might make it easier, the ones I have, but regardless, this is going to be difficult. It has worn me out today. It's been a full day. I've done as much as I possibly can. I'm going to blow as much sand as I can back into the lawn and get all my stuff cleaned up for the day. And then there's just one more step to finish this day off. And I'll be back in just a second to show you what that is. That's a beautiful sound after a long, long day. The sound of a sprinkler. This is the last thing we're going to do on day one of sand. What this is going to do for us is it's going to water that sand in because it is going to settle some. Got sprinklers running on both sides. That's going to help us settle the sand and see how good we actually got it on the lawn. And then that'll allow us to come back tomorrow with the little bit of sand that I have left and do some touch-ups and then the final steps. And then you may hate to hear this, but get ready for a hefty water bill, because after we finish everything up for tomorrow, it's just a lot of sitting around and waiting and watering. But this watering tonight will give us a good idea on where we need to add a little bit more and see how good we did dragging that mat and using the lawn lute. Now, when you're dragging the mat or the lawn lute or whatever device you're using to work the sand in, what I like to do is just go in as many directions as possible and do it for as long as possible until I just don't see really much changing at all. And then we'll see what we need to do tomorrow morning when we wake up. So we'll get started again tomorrow morning, about mid-morning. We'll let this dry out a little bit. Doesn't have to be completely dry. And then tomorrow will be the final day on this, and I can't wait. Woo-hoo-wee! Did that shower and nice rest feel awesome after that long day on the lawn yesterday. Folks, I know this video is getting long, and I appreciate all of you who are sticking with me. I promised you that this would be the most comprehensive guide to leveling your lawn with sand, and I intend to deliver. So if you find this video helpful, please hit that subscribe button along with the notification bell. Leave me a thumbs up and drop me a comment down below to let me know if you like this longer version video here on Budget Lawns. But in the interest of time, today, day 2 of sand is just going to be an abbreviated version of everything we did yesterday. It's mid-morning, somewhere around 10:30 or so. And I'm just getting out to scope out the lawn to see how things look after day 1. And I must say, I'm very pleased with the results. I do see a few low dips where I need to add a little bit more sand and some spots that are hollow after watering it in and it's settling. But overall, super stoked with how things turned out after day 1. So I'm going to knock out the rest of the sand in the back of the truck, get that all done, and then I'll come back to talk to you about the final steps on sand day. And then we're going to dive into a little bit about the care of your lawn in the coming weeks. So you don't want to miss that. And you're also going to see my results. Oh, praise the Lord. The hard part is over. All the sand is down. Oh, thank goodness. Here's the final product, folks. I would say that when this is all said and done, it is going to look amazing. Wow. I cannot wait to get the reel back on this. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to wait a while. And as I mentioned earlier, we will go over more details on how to care for the lawn in the coming weeks in just a bit. So what I've done, I got the rest of the sand on the lawn, got everything drug, and I was pooped. So I had to go take a break and eat some lunch and just went ahead and got all my equipment cleaned up, but I'm not 100% done for the day. I have 2 more simple steps to complete before the sand days are done with. One step, remember that bag of organic fertilizer? We have to get that on the lawn. And then all that's left after that is to water again. Now I am going to water this lawn as if it were new sod or new seed over the next week. I'm going to mow water every single day. Now I'm not saying that I am just going to completely drench it, but I'm going to keep this wet every single day for the next week. Then after the first week, I will water every other day. And then by week 3, I will be back onto my normal watering schedule. And then by then, we should be getting close to hopefully being back to normal lawn care. Should take about a month or so. So over the next few weeks, I am going to be popping in with you from time to time to keep you posted on how the lawn is progressing and the things that I am doing to maintain it. Because with all this sand on it, we have to take a few steps to ease our way back into normal mowing, edging, and blowing. So if you want to see results and you want to see those tips, keep watching because it only gets better from here.